Welcome to my channel. Thank you for stopping by. I really appreciate it. This channel is really it's geared toward the new man and woman who's interested in coming to the Philippines, either for a visit or for, to retire. But I don't use that word anymore. I say rejuvenate, because you don't come to the Philippines to retire. You come to the Philippines to rejuvenate. If you want to retire, you stay at home. You want to rejuvenate, come on over here. We'll rejuvenate you. But I was talking to a couple of Americans yesterday. Man, I haven't shaved. It's early. I haven't shaved. I haven't got my hair shaved yet. But that's one of the things that's so appealing about the Philippines to me. It's this kind of stuff's not important. I could wear this shirt again tomorrow and no one would even notice. There's more important things to worry about over here than that. See, and that's what I like. That's one of the great things I like about the Philippines. But I was talking to two Americans yesterday. It was a video call. One lives here in Dumaguete. The other lives in Medellin, Colombia. But he used to live in Quezon City for 3 years. And we were just shooting the breeze. And the one that lived in Dumaguete said something. And a light went off and said, man, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow, but in a different way. We were talking about the cost of living, more or less our lifestyle, not actually our bills and things like that. But, and he said a lot of guys come over here, they have to go home because they run out of money. They spend too much money over here. And, and I agreed with him, but the light went off in my head. I said, there's a lot of other reasons why people go home, Americans especially, because I'm going to keep it on Americans. I don't know a lot about Europeans. I've been to London, I've been to Italy. Those only two places over there that I've been. I really don't know a lot about that culture and how they're made up, but I'm born and raised in America. And, I got to thinking about that. There's two main reasons why people generally go home. Like he said, we run out of money. Either we came over here too early, we didn't have enough savings, we just live a lifestyle where we can't sustain it over here. And then our health, our health fails us, and of course, we have to go home because our insurance is no good over here. Even though if you got Medicare, if you got private insurance, Guam is only a 2.5-hour flight from the Philippines. If you really had to have a major operation or something, you don't have to get it here, and you don't have to go all the way back to the United States. But that's another video. Especially if you got Medicare. The Guam is a United States territory. You might as well be in Hawaii or somewhere like that. You might as well be in California. But anyway, I got to thinking, I said, man, it's a big culture shock coming from America to the Philippines. And I argue with anybody when I say this. I think it's a bigger shock for Americans coming to the Philippines than it is from someone from the Philippines moving to America. Because that's a big culture shock too. If you've ever known anybody, if you've ever taken your wife or your girlfriend over there, they're amazed. I think they're more amazed than they are culture shock because they can already speak the language. So their transition is a lot simpler. But see, I'm going to give you the nitty gritty. Remember, I told you that. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't care if I'm not going to do it for likes, subscribers, or anything. But look, we can't stomach it over here. It doesn't mean we're weak, but the changes and the sacrifices is so drastic for us that a lot of us, unless we have a compelling why to be here, man, we won't stay here anywhere near 2 years. We can't take it. There's a honeymoon period, and this is what I was talking to with a gentleman here from America. Him and his wife, they've since moved back to Florida, Jacksonville, Florida. He lived here for 10 years. And we were talking about the honeymoon period, and we agreed that it's somewhere around 6 to 9 months, that honeymoon period. Now, it could go longer if you really are in love and you really have found a soulmate and a great partner, it can linger a little bit longer, but generally 6 to 9 months, and then reality slaps you in the face. You have to start facing some things that you never even thought about. And one thing that he talked about, because I asked him, I said, you've been here for 10 years, man. They got a beautiful house. It's right up the street. They're still trying to sell it. The family hasn't been able to sell it. I mean, beautiful. Him and his wife built a beautiful home here. I said, why are you going home, after 10 years? Here's what he said. He said, there's some things about America that are so deeply embedded in me, he said, that I can't do without permanently, And here's a guy who went home every year, once or twice every year. It wasn't enough for him. He said this, he said, he loves a medium rare steak, T-bone, different cuts of steak. He said, and whenever I get the craving, I want to be able to just leave my house and go and get me a nice big steak. He said, I can't do that here. He said, he talking to me, he said, you don't remember, he said, but that McDonald's up the street hasn't always been there. He said, before that McDonald's was there, he said, I'd get a craving for beef, and it'd be so bad, he said, that I would drive 3.5 hours to Bacala City just to get me a hamburger. He said, and he started doing that every Sunday. And boy, did that make sense to me. Because it gets to where I'm going with this. By the time we get over here, most of us are well in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and some 70s. We're set in our ways. We know what we want, when we want it, how we want it. And that's it. Anything less won't do. Okay? You can call it we're spoiled. Okay? And that'll work against you once you get all the way over here to the Philippines. This isn't Mexico. You can't just jump on a plane and be home in 3 or 4 hours. We're 18 hours away, depending on where you live. I fly in from Chicago. And after that honeymoon period wears off, man, some of the things over here just takes a lot of getting used to. So much so that some of us can't deal with it, Number one, that language, okay? We're stubborn. We don't want to learn the language. Let me tell you, if you're looking at this video and you're really listening to me, if you try to come over here and live permanently and you don't try to learn the language, at least just the little remnants of the language, man, you're going to go crazy. Because after a while, it's just noise in your head, man, It'll make your head hurt, okay? But then, more importantly, you're not going to be able to talk to anybody. If you don't see an expat somewhere, you're going to put yourself in isolation, and there's nothing worse than that. I mean, I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist or anything like that, but that isolation is not good for human beings, and that's what'll happen to us. And pretty soon, man, you'll go crazy. And then, okay, let's talk about the food. Okay, if you live in like Cebu, Manila, one of those major places like that, Davao, where a lot of expats live, even Dumaguete City, you're going to be able to find some of the things that you crave from America. I know in Dumaguete for sure there's a meat shop right there on the little ocean side street, right on the corner. And a lot of foreigners, that's where they go and get their cuts of meat, steak, hamburger, different things like that. But the food is a drastic change, This guy, he drove 3.5 hours just for a burger, Lucky for me, and I don't know if he even knew about Mike's place around the corner. Mike is an American, and he owns Mike's Sports Bar. And he only sells American food. I don't know where he gets his meat, but it's American meat. I mean, his burgers taste like, and they're quarter pound burgers. I mean, they're delicious. His hot dogs, they're not these Virginia hot dogs over here. He has American food, man, and it's delicious. His French fries, everything. So I don't know if he knew about that. But that's another reason. It's hot over here, man. You know, let's just, you know, be honest. You know, some people just can't deal with the heat. I mean, it's hot every single day. Okay. And that has good health aspects. But for most of us, you know, we have to stay in the house all day and run the air conditioner all day. And it's really not good, you know. There's certain times you have to come out, but it's hot over here. And I was talking to a gentleman. He's from the UK. And he's an older guy. He's got asthma. He said that's one of the reasons he can't stay over here. He said the air quality is not good enough. He said so what he'll do is he'll spend 2 or 3 months here, go home, and then come back. And see, that's what most of us do. That's what works for us. We'll come to the Philippines for 6 months, then we'll go home for 6 months. Or we'll spend the winter here in the Philippines and then go back home. But trying to stay here full time, never going back to America, it takes a special breed. And we're too spoiled. We're too used to those creature comforts that just are everywhere in America that we have to give up when we come here. You have to have a compelling why to be here, or you're not going to make it, man, anywhere near 2 years. Okay? And that's a figure I throw out there because, man, you strike up a conversation with people, man, you get to know them, next thing you know, they're gone. You be like, man, where's Jim? You know, it'd be like, man, I went back to America, man, you know, I couldn't take it over. It was just too much for me. You know, you'll get stories like that, you know. And sometimes even the Filipino wife who's already lived in America and she comes back here, she's a reason that they go back. She can't even take it here anymore. She's gotten so used to America over there. But if you have an experience like that, man, you know, share it with us, man. Put it in the comments. But it's a lot of reasons why we can't make it over here full time. And what I'm telling you is because we're set in our ways. We want what we want when we want it, how we want it. And when you're over here in the Philippines, man, you can't get that. You know, so if you don't have a compelling why, you're going to find yourself on that airplane going back to America. You know, because, yeah, people run out of money and their health gets bad, but that's the exception. Most people go back because they can't take it over here. They can't handle it. They can't acclimate, you know, assimilate, rather, to the Filipino culture. And they have to go back home. But that doesn't make them weak, you know. But I just thought I was wanting to talk about that because, man, it's tough over here. You know, this isn't for the weak-minded or the weak-hearted. If you're talking about coming over here living 100% of the time, man, you better have, man, just an orange stomach, orange fist, and a hard head, and just a compelling why. You know, my compelling why is I don't want to go back to work over there. I've been working since I was 11 years old. When I got over here, that means I was working for 44 years. I'm done with that. You know, I've got enough money where, you know, I can live over here the rest of my days. You know, I don't want the 30-year mortgage. I'm going to go ahead and build a house over here and pay about $1.5 million pesos. Okay, that's enough for me. Okay, my daughters, I love them to death. I've got 4 grown daughters over there, but they work my nerves to the point of giving me a stroke. And then I've got some roots here. I've got 3 kids here now. They're all U.S. citizens, so that keeps me grounded here too. So thanks for stopping by today. Remember, my 11 years here doesn't make me an expert. You know, my unique insight I want to share with the new man and woman, okay? That's all I'm here for. I don't want to come off as a know-it-all, but thank you so much. If you haven't helped anybody, help somebody today, man, before you go to bed. Thank you.